Bulky defensive Pokemon have seen their relevance rise over the years primarily because of their ability to effectively wall and counter offensive Pokemon that heavily rely on direct damage output to break through teams. Each Pokemon has their own strengths and flaws, and the idea of a Pokemon that excels in its defenses, while most of the time being highly passive, is quite a compelling one. The playstyle of stall teams saw a surge in popularity with the introduction of stockier Pokemon, such as Quagsire, Claydol, and Dusclops. Fundamentally, these teams relied on residual damage and healing from moves like Recover or external methods, like held items to thrive, and incidentally, many of these Pokemon that fit this category bear the normal type, a type with a single weakness to fighting, and immunity to ghosts, but incapable of hitting any other type super effectively, almost as if it was curated with defensive Pokemon in mind. What are these Pokemon and how have they impacted competitive Pokemon over the years? Are they still relevant in the current VGC and Smogon 6v6 singles meta? Hopefully this video can provide succinct and accurate answers to those questions. The Pokemon that immediately comes to mind at the mention of defensive and normal type is Chansey, as well as its evolution Blissey. These Pokemon are renowned for having an obscenely high HP stat of 255, the highest in the game. They are gifted with superb special defense stats of 105 and 135 respectively, meaning even the strongest special attackers will struggle against these two egg ladies. However, this is offset by their abysmal physical defense and defense stats of a measly 5, meaning a single close combat would be enough to knock them out. Before the special attack and defense split in Generation 2, Chansey was actually a premier special attacker, present on nearly 100% of teams in the red, blue and yellow metagame. Chansey could threaten Pokemon like Lapras and Starmie with Thunderbolt, and had good coverage moves like Ice Beam and Psychic. It had good recovery with its signature move Soft Boil, a reskin version of Recover. Aside from its weakness to physical attackers, Chansey was an incredible special attacker, special wall, and a staple of Gen 1 OU. In Gen 2 came Chansey's evolution Blissey, and along with it the special attack and special defense split. This meant that Blissey was repurposed as an entirely passive, specially defensive wall. Blissey would optimally run status moves like Toxic and Thunder Wave, as well as Heal Bell to cure the party of status ailments. Blissey could also use Counter, a move that deals double the damage lost by the user after taking a physical attack. With an incredible HP stat, this meant that on the condition that Blissey survived a physical hit, it could retaliate with damage good enough to knock out most Pokemon. Chansey and Blissey were present in future games, the latter becoming an OU mainstay even up to Generation 9, because of its unrivaled ability to effectively hinder every single special attacker. It seemed Game Freak had enough of Blissey's dominance in Generation 5, hence Audino was introduced, a pure normal type with more evenly distributed defenses as well as the ability Regenerator, a good defensive ability that restores the user's health by a third upon switching out. This Pokemon was clearly intended to be the new and improved defensive wall, even replacing Chansey's occupation as the new assistant nurse in Unova's Pokemon centers. Unfortunately, Audino found itself failing miserably, simply because of its lack of utility and consistent healing. Yes, it had Wish, but that was inferior in the face of moves like Soft Boil and Recover. In its debut generation, it found itself in the PU tier, where it stayed for the rest of its existence. Of course, Game Freak wasn't satisfied with base Audino's inability to do anything well, hence the introduction of Mega Audino in Oras. Mega Audino's defenses skyrocket, and it gains the Fairy typing but loses the ability Regenerator, which was a tragedy as perhaps it could have found its way into the RU or UU tier if it had maintained that ability. Similarly to its base form, Mega Audino's playstyle remains unchanged, as a premier stall Pokemon in the NU tier, notable for its solid defensive typing. It can run the exact same set of knockoff, Toxic and perhaps stab Dazzling Gleam for some chip damage, but this Pokemon lacks the potential to ever excel from there. On a much brighter note, the Pokemon Snorlax has had one of the most notable careers to date. Aside from being a globally recognized sensation, Snorlax is arguably the best Pokemon in both Gen 1 and Gen 2 OU, maybe slightly behind Zapdos. Snorlax is a simple Pokemon in name and nature. Its most standard set is with Curse to boost its attack and defense, Stab Double Edge or Body Slam for the odds of inflicting paralysis. Earthquake was also quite popular to decimate all incoming Tyranitar switching in on normal type moves, and Rest could heal Snorlax back to full HP while curing it of all status conditions. In addition to this, Curse-Lax has the ability Tick Fat, granting resistance to fire and ice type moves. This Pokemon held its ground as an OU and UU mainstay up to Generation 6. Valued for its immense bulk, longevity, as well as its ability to unleash devastating amounts of damage. But alas, everything comes to an end, and Snorlax's evanescent reign came to an end with the introduction of new fighting types like Holucha, Kommo-o, and Buzzwole. These fast physical attackers could easily outspeed Snorlax and knock it out before he could even curse once. Speed proved to be increasingly significant in later generations, and a pure normal typing did as hard offensively as it did in the earlier gens. Slow, bulky setup was obsolete in a world of raw and unbridled hyper offense, a thing of the past. Snorlax now resides in ZU as a dominant force, still rocking the same curse sets as it did over 20 years ago. Those glory days are long since over, Snorlax has solidified itself an everlasting legacy as a slow yet oppressive setup sweeper. At first glance, Regigigas may appear to be a terrifying physical attacker with a colossal base 160 attack, incredible defenses all around, and a solid HP stat. Regigigas' primary drawback is its ability's slow start, an ability designed to balance it but just making it unviable as a whole. Slow start halves the user's attack and speed for 5 turns, basically incapacitating it for an excruciatingly long period of time. And it's not like Regigigas gets any form of reliable setup or utility to make up for this devastating loss. 5 turns in Pokemon is the equivalent of 4 business days, and this factor alone threw the absolute behemoth that is Regigigas into the NU tier in its debut generation, with the sole purpose of being a tank and spreading paralysis, poison, and perhaps knocking off a few Pokemon, depriving it of its royal status. But aside from that, this Pokemon's only purpose was existing, which it did mostly in the ZU tier. Then came Generation 8, and with it came the Pokemon Weezing and Galarian Weezing's new signature ability, Neutralizing Gas, nullifying the effects of all abilities as long as it was on the field. This was it. Game Freak had shown Regigigas a glimmer of hope, a revolutionary moment in Pokemon history. Regigigas could finally unleash its true potential. Not only that, but Weezing's ability Neutralizing Gas could suppress game-changing abilities like Urshifu's Unseen Fist or Galarian Darmanitan's Guerrilla Tactics, providing useful support for its teammates. Sure enough, Regigigas did see some sort of success in Gen 8 VGC tournaments. Wasn't anything too game-breaking, but not many Pokemon could survive a max strike from Regigigas with base 160 attack. In a way, Regigigas did receive some sort of compensation for its years of mistreatment, and it could theoretically work in Gen 9 VGC with the right team. Licky is a personal favorite Pokemon of mine, and design-wise, how could you not love him? I'm currently using it in my Pokemon Platinum playthrough as a bulky mixed attacker with Surf and Max Power Return. Unfortunately, Licky has never seen much success competitively. Its stats are mediocre at best, and it's outshined by other bulky normal types, Snorlax and Clefable in nearly every other aspect. However, it does get access to the incredible attack boosting move Swords Dance, which raises its attack by 2 stages. Apart from this, Licky doesn't have any other outstanding qualities. Even after a Swords Dance boost, it still outputs middling damage, and it's similar to the countless defensive normal types that came before it, but with less than preferable stats. Despite this, Licky finds a home in the ZU tier as one of the most reliable walls, with access to Toxic, Wish for recovery, Protect, and Stab Return. It also receives Knockoff for utility, Heal Bell, and Seismic Toss if you rather invest in its defenses. For now, however, it seems that Licky's fate as a stereotypical bulky normal type is sealed, but perhaps Mega Licky in Legend ZA could be its saving grace. Porygon 2 is not a Pokemon you'd expect to be a bulky normal type, and that definitely wasn't its intended purpose upon its introduction in Gen 2. Thanks to its fantastic stats as well as wide move pool at the time, it was quickly banned from UU to UUBL. Porygon 2 thrived as a tanky special attacker, which typically ran this set with Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave, and Recover. This made it very hard to get rid of, and it was quite easy to fit on teams. With only a single weakness to fighting, Porygon 2 made a name for itself as a consistent hard hitter with good longevity. Stab Double Edge could 3-hit KO Raikou, 4-hit KO Snorlax, and Porygon 2 could just shrug off the recoil with the leftovers item and recover. In Generation 4, Porygon 2 had a bit of a fall into the NU tier because of power creep and metagame shifts, as well as competition with stronger special attackers like Shaymin. However, it occasionally saw usage as a check to Pokemon like Heatran, Gyarados, Dragonite in upper tiers, and then came Gen 5, and this was where Porygon 2 locked in. But since the introduction of Porygon Z, Porygon 2 could now hold the Eviolite item, which further enhanced its bulk. Additionally, the Robotic Duck could use its signature move Tri-Attack for big damage into key threats like Heracross, Machamp, and Hitmontop, often threatening a 2-hit KO. Its ability Download also grants it a special attack boost most of the time, allowing it to achieve those impressive numbers. But where Porygon 2 truly took off was with VGC. With the growing popularity of Trick Room teams, players desired a Pokemon that could set up Trick Room without getting knocked out, one that could also provide long-term value with good coverage options and reliable healing. The Pokemon that met all those criteria was Porygon 2. Hence, that was where it found its true home. From that point onwards, Porygon 2 has been a staple in VGC even through power creep, managing to thrive and flourish amongst legendaries and paradox Pokemon. The new mechanic of terrestrialization allowed Porygon 2 to remove its sole weakness to fighting, as well as resisting common attacks like Urshifu's Wicked Blow and King Gambit's Kowtow Cleave, claiming its spot as the undisputed best Trick Room setter in VGC history. In summary, the members of the bulky normal-type trope have had varying degrees of success and a wide variety of uses. They have proven to be more than just reskin copies of each other, and hopefully Game Freak continues this trope, because I enjoy it quite a bit. There's some of my favourite Pokemon in there like Dunsparce and Terrapagos. So that's it for the video, and if you enjoyed, please remember to like and subscribe because it really helps me out a lot. Thank you.